Hi. Hi.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. So first things first, hello, my name is Victoria. Welcome to my channel. I make Am I the A-hole videos. I also talk about weight loss on this channel. If you're interested in that, I had bariatric surgery, the whole spiel. There's a playlist for it somewhere on my channel. You should subscribe because you should subscribe. And also, today's video is going to be a little bit different. This may be a series, it may not be a series. I just wanted to try something, so I'm going to be doing like a Redditing thing where I do the usual Reddit, but I'm going to be doing my makeup at the same time. Please note, it is 9 o'clock at night. Am I really about to put my makeup on at 9 o'clock at night, wipe it all off, and then get my thick ass in the bed and watch 18 again? You bet your sweet ass I am. On top of that, I want to say that this video is going to be a little bit different. Why? Because past me is involved, and makeup me is non-makeup me is also involved. How so, you may ask? So what happened was that I pre-filmed this video. I filmed this video probably like last Thursday, and I was editing it, and then I got different opinions on the context of the video from two people that worked in similar or in the similar. They worked in a situation similar to that of the anonymous Reddit user. So I realized that my opinions were, they were still right. They're my opinions. Like, they're not right, but they're still my opinions. But I changed my thinking a little bit. I came to the same conclusion, but for different reasons. And I wanted to share that. So, number 1, subscribe. Number 2, comment. Number 3, share. Share your thoughts. I really like to know what other people think about stuff like this, because maybe it's me. This one's a little bit harder to work with, but maybe it's me because I was like, this is an obvious answer, but other people may not think so. So you should comment your thoughts below and share this video with your friends and such and such. I'm also on Instagram at irrational but it's cool. I'm on Twitter at irrational but it's cool because I'm irrational but it's cool. So past me is going to read the story to you, read the Reddit to you, and I'm gonna do my eyebrows off camera. I'm a teacher, and one of the classes I teach is PE. I am also a coach. Well, one of the girls in the morning PE class told me she couldn't take the early physical because she was on her period. I know for a fact that this is not a serious issue as I coach swim team, and none of the HTE girls ever reported this. When they're on their period, they put in a tampon and they swim. She kept telling me that she can't swim on her period. I'm pissed because we need to submit scores to the school administration, as the government takes records of these. It's really important. I told her how important it is, and we were reminded to come prepared for it. I'm getting mad, that's why I'm...
Public education ain't shit.
We even had extra tampons she could use, but she refused. I reminded her that I would have to spend time the next day to record again if she can't this day. Well, fucking great. I had to come back another day and record it again. Well, later that day, the band had a concert and later went to a water park. I was chaperoning that as well, and she was on a trip. She comes out with her bathing suit going to play in the water, and I pulled her over and asked why she was somehow able to get in the water now. She told me that she doesn't feel it anymore and she feels better. I told her no, if she can't swim this morning for a yearly physical, then she can't go to the water park later. She was so pissed and screaming and shit. I told her to sit down and be quiet. She later cried. I don't care, quite honestly. I later got very angry complaint from her parents. I had to waste my otherwise day off to come and record her, so quite honestly, I don't feel guilty about this. Thanks, past me. All right, so eyebrows are done, kind of, sort of. I'm not going anywhere, all right? It'll do. So, originally, what I was saying in the video was that, yeah, this person is an asshole. Like, oh, you're an asshole because it's her body. She can do what she wants with her body. Now I have to think about it a little bit differently because I got 2 different perspectives on it. My perspective is still, number 1 is your body, it's her body. She doesn't have to do anything for you. You are an adult. That is a child, all right? There is absolutely, in no way, shape, or form is there ever a reason for a child to have to do anything for an adult, right? She doesn't owe you anything. It almost felt as though this grown adult, whether you're a male or female, was like, you have to do this for me. It almost seemed like that was the way it made me feel. I could be wrong. But yeah, no, so I was like, that's weird. Why is this like something that you want for you, right? Take a minute to think about this from the little girl's perspective, this teenager. let's say she's like, oh, let's say she actually did get her period. And the reason I'm saying actually did is because one of the perspectives, or in both perspectives actually, they're both like, that little girl's probably lying. Now, I'm not going to pin anybody as a liar, but let's say that she actually did get her period. And early in the day, she's like, okay, I don't feel comfortable swimming for whatever reason. And then later in the afternoon, you know, maybe something changed. And she was like, okay, well, I can go to the water park. From her perspective, she was like, you know, a physical is strenuous on your body. It's uncomfortable. And it's not the same as splashing around in the water at a water park. At least from, if I was thinking about it as a kid. Kids don't really always think things all the way through as they should. So she might not have been thinking about, oh, what does this mean to Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so? How does this reflect the team? What does this mean for other people? She may not have been thinking about it that way. And on top of that, once again, it's her body. So she didn't really have to think about it that way if she didn't want to. And it feels very, from her perspective, I can understand why she's like, this feels a little pressury for you to be like, you have to use a tampon. I'm giving you options to use a tampon. Just do it. Just do it. That's uncomfortable for a kid. That's a little weird, bro.
That's weird.
For you to offer that. And on the flip side of the kid, if you just didn't want to do it, rather than just being like, I wouldn't have used my period. I mean, yeah, like use an excuse, but I wouldn't have used my period as an excuse because if I was swimming all year long with my period, you know what I mean? I'm like, that's a little weird. Like that would come off as suspicious.
That's suspicious.
She didn't want to do it. She didn't have to do it. Clearly she didn't have to do it because she didn't do it. From the professor's perspective, I have to look over here now, sorry guys. From the professor's perspective, we have our professor, the swim coach professor, his perspective or her perspective. They're thinking, I have worked all week long. I want to go home on Friday at whatever time I have to go home and have my weekend to myself because it's the only weekend I have off or something along those lines. Now, when I got a separate perspective, this is why I had to insert the perspectives. I got a perspective from somebody that just worked with children, like more on the like child psychology side, and somebody that was an actual teacher. So from the teacher's perspective first, right? She was like, you're a teacher. You quite literally, like this is your job. And it's not uncommon for your work to bleed into your weekend, to bleed into your day off. It's not uncommon for that to happen. And your day doesn't end when the bell rings. You don't leave when the students leave. She was like, it was inappropriate for him or her to take advantage of their power in taking that student's extracurricular time, that student's extra time from them, whether they paid for the field trip or she was just supposed to be on the field trip. It was inappropriate because you as a teacher are supposed to understand your boundaries and your responsibilities. From this person's perspective, I'm thinking, okay, I want to go home. I don't want to be bothered with more, kid things. It's not really fair that I have to come to work on a Saturday, especially when I know you could have just swam, or at least I think I know that you could have just swam. And you could have done it and everybody would have been better off, at least from my perspective. Now I'm asking myself, is this person still an asshole because of the perspectives that I received? I'm still saying yes. Even though, so the other perspective that I got, this person said that child needed to be reprimanded because that was manipulation. More than likely, the child was manipulating the situation in their favor. But here's why I disagree with that. No matter what, whether that child couldn't swim for whatever reason, maybe, what if that kid didn't come to school that day? That teacher would still have to come in on Saturday either way. So for them to take, or maybe they didn't come in time for the physical, but for them to take something from them, for them to punish them for something was inappropriate. You punished them quite literally for being female. If that's the case, you punished her for having her period, and that's unfair. You took something from her, and naturally, yeah, you were reprimanded by her parents, as you should have been, because why do that? What were you getting out of that? It doesn't make any sense to me. You punished her because you were bitter, and you as an adult were bitter because you couldn't get your full day off. And I understand that, because in all honesty, I'd be pretty mad too. I wouldn't have been like, you know, you can't go on the field trip or something stupid along those lines because all you did was get yourself in trouble. But what I would have done, as one of my references, I guess, said, I don't know, she was basically like, I would have spoken to another teacher and been like, what do I do? Or spoken to an administrator and been like, I don't know what to do in this situation. I would not have taken her trip away because that just makes you look bitter and makes you look bad. I want to take a minute and go back and ask the question of, was this child being manipulative? That was so much powder. Jesus Christ. Too much powder. Oh well. Don't sue me, beauty gurus. I don't know what I'm doing. Is this child being manipulative? I personally, that's the question I'm gonna leave open because I don't actually know. Part of me is like, yeah, kind of, because if you can swim later when you're on your period, why can't you swim earlier in the day? You know what I mean? Like that's you just didn't want to do the physical. You could have just said, I don't want to do the physical. I guess that would have made more sense to me. But at the same time, when I was a kid, I would do anything to get out of taking a test for whatever reason. I'm sick. I'm not doing it. I'd do anything to get out of doing it. But I was never bold enough to do something else later in the day. If you can't do it early in the day, why are you able to do it later? At the same time, it's very possible, like realistically, it's possible that she was just physically uncomfortable and didn't want to swim and then was like, okay, I don't feel the pain of whatever I had going on earlier. I feel comfortable using a tampon or whatever now, and that's just what it is. I'm still kind of stuck on the manipulation thing. Like, is this manipulation or is she just really a teen that was in pain? Another reason that I feel like this person is most definitely the a-hole is at the end they said, I don't feel bad about it. I don't feel bad about it. You know, I don't regret doing it. Even after having been reprimanded by her parents and probably more than likely, just he didn't say this or they didn't say this, but more than likely administration as well. Part of me kind of feels like you're an asshole because you're not showing any remorse for something that you more than likely know was wrong. You are actively presenting yourself to be presenting yourself to be a terrible person. And when I was, you know, trying to explain the situation, somebody was like, this is probably a fake story. And it might be, because how can you be such a douche? Like, is that possible? Do they make people like that? While I do my eyes, I would like to say, I deeply, deeply appreciate all of our educators. I am related to educators. I appreciate educators. I feel like if you're going to do this job, you should have the will and the want to pass on education and not just be doing it because like, oh, it's a job. Because when you say and do things like that, oh, it's a job, it's about the numbers, what the case may be. When you say and do things like that, it reflects. The kids can tell. I had teachers like that. We can tell when you don't care about us or what we learn. We can tell. We can see it, right? So maybe in the situation she was like, they only care about, I keep saying he, I'm sorry. They only care about whatever. They only care about the numbers, the XYZ, it doesn't matter. They're gonna have to come in on Saturday anyway. I'm gonna do what I want. Is that okay? No, it's not okay. But my issue is that you ended up having to go in on Saturday anyway. So the fact that you went out of your way to basically tell this child like, oh, if you can't do this for me, if you can't swim for me, then you're not gonna swim at all, which is completely unfair. Like, that's not right at all. If you can't do it for me, then you can't do it at all. And of course, naturally the kid is like, that's not fair, because it's not fair. It's not fair. I had teachers when I was in school that, it was specifically PE teachers. When I was in school, I was going through a lot physically. I could make a whole series about that. I had PCOS, which Google it, but you grow hair, you have elongated menstrual cycles. In my case, that's one of the biggest issues that I had. And they were sometimes painful, sometimes not, mostly not. But it was so bad. Number one, my iron was extremely low. It was so bad that I had to be told not to do PE. I had doctor's notes and everything saying do not let her do PE. And my PE teachers in both, I believe it was, I only took PE in 9th grade, and I believe it was also 8th grade. They did not care and completely ignored all the doctor's requests, all the orders. They quite literally were like, sucks for you, sis. Like, they did not care. They actively did not care. And that resulted obviously in pain. I bled a lot more. I didn't have a good time. I was teased about a lot. I had a really rough time because there were teachers that did not care and chose to ignore what I was saying about my body. So in this situation, maybe she was saying, like, I actually just don't think I can swim. I don't feel comfortable using a tampon. And that's another thing. You can't force somebody to use a tampon. Oh, we gave her options. So she said no. You can't force somebody to use a tampon. People don't use tampons for a plethora of reasons. For religious reasons. They're invasive and painful. There's so many reasons that a person might not want to use a tampon, and maybe she was just like, hey, look, I'm not having it today. All right? I don't want to do it today. And that's her business. It's her body. That was more so what I was saying in the first video. And I'm standing by that, mind you. I completely agree with that. Like, it's her body, her choice. She doesn't have to do anything for you. This is like, obviously the person who made this post will more than likely never see this video. That's a child. They don't owe you a damn thing. They don't have to do anything for you. There is absolutely nothing in the world that a kid could give you outside of a number on a goddamn board that you're gonna give to the government. I'm not an educator. I know you're probably thinking to yourself, Victoria, what the hell's going on with your eyes? Listen, trust the process. Pray through the process, okay? I'm not an educator. I do appreciate our educators, and, you know, I love everyone. But I just kind of feel like if you're gonna be an educator, which is a pretty, you know, that's a demanding job. That's more demanding than a lot of other jobs, because it goes beyond the 9 to 5, you see. And you're shaping and molding the minds, and in this case, the bodies of tomorrow. I'm not an educator, but I just kind of feel like if you're gonna be an educator, you shouldn't be actively trying to, I don't know, punish students because things don't go your way. Lil sis, you know, whatever she had going on in her body, that's her business. Even if, and let's say in the situation, like, she admitted, like, later on, oh, I'm lying, you know, I lied. All that happened is that you had to come to work on a Saturday, she lied, and you took something away from a kid. No happy ending there, kids. This is a question to my educators, both, you know, current and past. When you have a student that you're like, oh, I can clearly tell you're lying, or you're just like, wow, this is really gonna mess up my weekend, which I'm sure it has happened before, because I know educators, I'm sure it happens all the time. But when you are faced with that, what is the right thing to do? Because in his situation or her situation, they just pulled the douche nugget move and were like, you're not going on a trip, right? But he can't prove that she's not on her period, nor could he technically prove her intentions when going to the water park. You have to be in a bathing suit to go to a water park. You have to be, because you're gonna get wet. So let's say she's on the band, or, you know, whatever the trip was for. He can't really be like, oh, you're going to go do whatever, even though in the situation, in the story, that is what he says, is that, like, oh, you can do it now, but you can't do it earlier. And she says yes. What are you supposed to do? Like, actually, like, what is there a protocol for that? Because how do you look a kid in the eye and be like, no, you're lying. I know it's your anatomy, and there's nothing you can do about it, and there's something I can do to prove that you're lying, but you're lying, and for that reason I'm going to punish you. How does that work? What do you call the principal? Do you have some invasive checkup? What do you do? I kind of feel like when a person does something like this or along these lines to a kid, it's a power move, and not the good kind. You see, it's a power move to show You are the child. I am the adult. Regardless of what's going on with your body, whether she was telling the truth or not, telling the truth or not, you are the child. I am the adult. You are going to do as I say. And I just don't think that's fair. Little sis probably paid to go on this trip. You know what I mean? Like her parents probably paid to go on this trip. It's a water park. I've never been to a water park. I don't even like theme parks, but that's not cheap. So I highly doubt she was going for free. So you basically robbed her because you were mad. I don't think that's I'm pretty sure it's not protocol. Is it a money thing? I feel like, okay, this is just me now just talking really quick. When you become an educator, I understand that in some cases, like I know from my degree, I intend to teach, be a music teacher to elementary school students. And, you know, in the future, who knows what the Lord has, but in the future, I'll probably end up working at a college or of some sort. So when you're an educator, you have to have a passion to teach. You have to want to teach. You have to dedicate to wanting to share this knowledge. And on top of that, when you become an educator, you have to like kids. You have to know how kids are. And whether they're manipulative or they're sweet or they're the perfect child on earth, they're still kids. Like, they're not perfect beings. And I just don't like the idea of this person seeing this child as a number. It doesn't, I can't get behind it. And it feeds into the assholery, you see. Ew. Let me put my lips on and smack some mascara on, and I will be back. Tis the finished look. I'm not even gonna hold you. I don't usually do lips this dark. This is a very dark look for me. I keep looking at myself and not the camera. I'm so sorry because I'm like, whoa. It's kind of weird. I have a friend that would live in this. Shy would live in this. I could totally see her doing this. I see Kiana doing it too, actually. This is weird for me. I look good. Don't get me wrong, I look good. It's just weird. It's weird. To summarize, is this person an a-hole? In my honest Christian opinion, yeah, they are. Number one, you abused your power. You seem like you were trying to take something from a child, and that's just not okay to me. And on top of that, you made it seem like your day off was more important than what could have possibly been that kid's health. And you also didn't even really know her intentions when she was going to the water park. Yeah, she probably was going to play with her friends. I mean, she's a teenager, that's what they do. But at the same time, she could have just been going to the water park for any number of reasons. Maybe she just wanted to go to the water park with her friends. She didn't have to get in the water. None of that actually had to happen. You just made an assumption you took something from her because you were bitter. I would love to know everybody's thoughts, your opinions, your feelings. Share this video. I want to know what everybody thinks in the comments below. Subscribe, please. I have a channel goal of 25 before either the end of the month or the beginning of next month. Soon. I have 22 subscribers. You should subscribe to my channel so I have 25. More than 25 is appreciated as well. I need some friends. I need friends. Yeah. Bye. Mr. Krabs is one big bitch. Let me see that.